I know. Yeah. Is it?
Few days.
Ready?
Go through the metal detector, my knees go off.
Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Whitfield County Board of Commissioners to order for March 10th, 2025. Please silent or mute your cell phones, and all that are able, please stand for our pledge, starting with our invocation. Commissioner Robbins.
Let us pray. Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we first pause to recognize who you are and what you do for us, and to thank you for all the blessings of life that you bestowed upon us. Dear Father, just thank you for this county, Whitfield County, and the fact that we can serve, learn, live, play, and work. Dear Father, we also pray for those soldiers, sailors, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, that you'll protect them at home and abroad, for them protecting our country. Now go with us and guide us. Forgive us where we fail you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May the record reflect we have all 5 commissioners present for our quorum requirements. The commissioners and the public were made aware of the agenda approximately 5 days ago. I think we've got a couple of changes. We need to add a equipment surplus that's on the printed agenda if you pick that up today, just to surplus a piece of equipment, and also potentially changing the order. I know a lot of people came for a couple, 3 items, so we don't want to keep you longer. If you want to leave after that, we want to move that up. Is there a motion to add the equipment surplus and move up item 25 to be the new number 13?
Motion made.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins, second by Commissioner Staton. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. There are no new consent agenda items, just the regular budget and purchase amendments that are required for our auditors from last month's approvals. The minutes were also sent out last week, about 5 days ago, for our February meeting. Anybody can get a chance to review the minutes from February?
Motion made to adopt.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins to accept the minutes, second by Commissioner Staton. Any further discussion? Yes, ma'am?
The date for the Prater's Mill, I got it wrong. It's from the 11th to the 12th, not the 10th.
Okay.
I've changed it on my end.
There was a correction in the Prater's Mill Fair for the dates this fall for that,
In the minutes.
in the revised minutes, yes. So is there a motion to approve the minutes with the revised revision? Motion by Commissioner Robbins, second by Commissioner Staton. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. We'll start with our employee recognition of the month for January. Andrew Kite, if you want to come forward with the Sheriff's Office. Thanks for bringing your crew out tonight.
I did.
Tell us a little bit about him.
Bring my crew out tonight. So this here is Captain Wesley Lynch. Officer Kite works directly for him. Captain Lynch is over our jail, and then Lieutenant Graham Williams is also his lieutenant. I'm going to let Captain Lynch explain to you why Officer Kite is receiving this award.
All right, good afternoon. A lot of you, if you employ people, sometimes we find that it's hard to get people that want to do the job we pay them to do, much less any extra. Well, what we want to talk about today is somebody that kind of went above and beyond, and this wasn't even part of our mission. It was just trying to do the right thing by somebody else. So a few weeks ago, I had a conversation with Officer Cott, and he had become aware that one of our inmates that had gone into the mental health system in Georgia was missing. So that individual had gone from the mental health system, they had gone to a halfway house somewhere in the Atlanta area, and then their mother couldn't locate them. And there was, obviously, she was under distress. This went on for, I think, at least a week, maybe a couple of weeks it was going on. Yeah, and so the mother was very upset. She was trying to reach out to everybody she could. So he brought it to our attention. So he gave me the name of the mother. He gave me the name. He had already determined, where the individual had been dropped off at, like the specific location, the county, and all the other information. So we got that information. We contacted one of the counties in the Atlanta area, and they have an outreach program there, like a community service portion of their sheriff's office. And we sent this email out. We gave all the contact information for the mother. We gave them a background on the inmate. The inmate's not medical information, but basic information about the problems they may have and the places they may be. We don't know if we were successful or not, but we do know, I think it was the next day or the day after that the individual was located. So whether or not we were successful, we had an employee that didn't just come to work that day and said, hey, I'm just going to do what I have to do. He came to work that day and said, hey, I need to help somebody else that's in distress. So I think that's about the best that we can ask for. So that's why we're celebrating Officer Kite here today.
Okay, look at me, 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna do one more, 1, 2, 3.
All right, we don't have any presentations tonight. We do have one public hearing on the alcohol and beverage license for 2500 Reed Road. So I'd like to open the public hearing for that. If anyone would like to come forward and speak in favor of the alcohol and beverage permit for Reed Food Mart, feel free to come forward to the mic and identify yourself at this time. Is in favor of this alcohol application? Does anyone like to come forward against this approval of this alcohol beverage application? Going once, twice. All right, I will close the public hearing on that. And we'll move into our reports. Each month, if you haven't been here before, the commissioners give a report on what's happened with the county or in their district. So I'll start us off with a couple of recent wins. So if you see, Bob Civic is not here tonight. He recently won the City County Management Association's program. So here is our nice award that we won last week for our Fire Pathways project. So this is the second time that we've won, and it's voted on by peers, city managers, county administrators across Georgia select the best person and project each year, and so this is the second year we won. If you remember, we won ACCG's award. I think that's going to be over there on our wall last month, but this is a different award, so we're happy to keep racking those up for the county. Also in Cohutta, we had our fire group and a lot of volunteers. We have a group called CERT volunteers, totally non-paid volunteers that are willing to get trained and go out and help the community, whether it's in an emergency or just help prevent emergencies like this. So we visited 69 residents around Cohutta, and they installed 56 new smoke alarms. So it was a great event. You can see all the people that participated with our fire department and our volunteers. Also, we thank Chick-fil-A. It's a great partnership with them and the Red Cross to provide the smoke detectors. We provide the labor. They provided the lunch. So it was a good event overall. And the mayor of Cohutta's picture there, Ron Chinnick. One other event from Saturday, we had our first annual, hopefully it'll be an annual event, free pet adoption at our Whitfield County Animal Shelter. So that was just on Saturday. And so this is the first time we've ever had it. So I didn't really know what to expect, but we had 11 local successful adoptions in one day. So that's roughly 25% of the cats and dogs that we have in the shelter at any one time. So that's great, to provide that to citizens and help find a home for our furry family members there. So really happy about the turnout there. And last but not least, even though compromise is a bad word in Washington, partnership and compromise is what we may have to do here tonight and what we try and do all the time. So maybe compromise between the commissioners, compromise between the citizens and us, even between different groups within the community that are here tonight. So I just want to encourage that, and we all live together and eat together, and just remember, as long as we're moving towards a goal, it doesn't have to be perfect. We can always go back and continually improve. That's our goal. So don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. That's what I always keep in mind. That's it for me. Commissioner Jones?
Nothing this week.
Commissioner Thomas, anything for you?
Nothing tonight.
Commissioner Staton?
No, sir.
Commissioner Robbins?
I do. We had a library board meeting, which is conducted every quarter for the Dalton Whitfield Library Board. I can report that progress is being made on construction. They're still working on that. And also, I can report that there were over 26,000 card holders for the Dalton Whitfield County, and 13,400 were used the library during that month. So it's progressing well. On another note, we are still searching for a library director
That's
for
right.
Dalton Whitfield, and they have had a number of candidates, but they're still going through that process. And other than that, the construction's coming along as well as can be expected, and some of that was funded by SPLOST, of course.
Okay.
So,
Make
yeah.
sure to pull the microphone down so people out in the hallway can hear. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes.
Good. Well, that's all my report.
Oh, so they, you missed a really good report, sorry. All right. Bob did not grow 4 inches over the last month, but we are happy to have Shannon Whitfield started last week. This was the exact reason why we looked for a deputy county administrator to fill in when he's in training, to kind of split the load on the day-to-day basis, or if he's on vacation, et cetera. There's someone to keep the county moving forward. So, Mr. Whitfield, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here and serve in this capacity. And honestly, they did not make me change my last name to Whitfield. It was already Whitfield. So I'm from Walker County, live and reside in Chickamauga. I had been running the day-to-day operation of Walker County government for the last 8 years. And so look forward to working with Bob and the board and the team here. And my first day was Wednesday last week. And so, you know, they say anytime you start a new job, you feel like you're drinking from the fire hose, right? So I spent the day with the fire chief, and we went around and saw all the stations and met some of the team members, and very proud of what we saw today. And y'all should be very proud of the fire services here in Whitfield County. And it was a great day, and appreciate his time spending about 8 hours with me today, showing me the ins and outs of the fire service. So happy to be here, and I'll fill in here at the desk when Bob's not available or not here. Otherwise, I'll just be in the audience. But anything I could do to help you or serve you in any capacity, please reach out to me. Be happy to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our report for finance.
Okay, we get to move into 2025 today. So for January, our lost for January was, we collected 1.2 million through January the 31st. Our TAVT, which is the vehicle tax, we collected 405,000 through January. Our year-to-date revenue, which is also just January, that we collected was 4.1 million, and our year-to-date expenses were 5 million.
Not the best
We paid
start.
out.
Not the best start to the year.
But it'll get better.
I think there's some uncertainty out there in the economy in general, so I don't think it's just us.
It's just the first month.
Yep. I think we were alone the whole last January. We dug out pretty quick, so hopefully that'll be the same. We got to keep an eye on it, though.
Total revenue, as I said, through January the 31st was 4.2 million. Our projected revenues through January was 4.4 million, and January of 2024, our revenue was 4 million. So it's pretty close.
Yep.
Total expenditures through January were 5 million. Our projected expenditures were 4.9 million, and in January of 24, our expenditures were 4.8 million. January revenue is 243,000 less than budgeted, and January expenditures are 131,000 more than budgeted. So that creates a deficit for this month of 373,000 for the first month. Our actual fund balance as of January 31st is 33.8 million, And our projected fund balance per the budget is $34.2 million. And then SPLOST 2024, we've collected in total receipts $6.5 million, and our total expenditures for the SPLOST has, through January, are $4.4 million.
And that includes payments to the cities and the towns?
That's correct.
Questions for our CFO?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Staton to approve the finance report as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. All right, for our first public comment, so if you haven't been to one of our meetings before or watched us online, we have 2 public comment sections. So the first one has a couple of rules. The second one has basically no rules. You just have to stay within 5 minutes. The first one, you just have to be on topic with some agenda item, the agenda that we just approved, so it has to be related to one of those agenda items. And of course, we still have the 5-minute rule. Now, we had a public hearing a couple of weeks ago on the rezone item. So that's the only other rule that the state has. That's not a Whitfield County rule. The state does not allow us to have more than one public hearing. So if our attorney will educate us and everyone on that rule related to rezoning and what you can and can't say. We had a, 2.5 hour, or 2 hour and 55-minute, almost 3-hour meeting 2 weeks ago on a lot of these rezones.
That's right, Mr. Chairman. Just as a reminder to the board and to the public, we follow the zoning procedures law. That's a state law as to how we conduct rezoning hearings, and that would also include text amendments. And part of that law is that the property be posted, that advertisements run, and we have to give notice to the public about those hearings. And so that's what we've done. As of course everyone knows, the Board of Commissioners actually attends the Planning Commission meeting so that it can hear all of the comments made by the public at that time. And so at this meeting, because there has been no advertisement of any new public hearing, we cannot reopen the public hearing on any zoning matter. Now, obviously, any other matter on your agenda.
Yep, fine.
And that would include the text amendment as a zoning amendment as well. Now, you can certainly advise the Board of Commissioners with a show of hands or whatever may be requested by the chairman, whether you're in favor or not in favor of a certain action to be taken. But we just simply can't, in order to stay compliant with the state law, we can't reopen the public hearing that's already occurred.
So again, I want to make sure everybody's heard. So if you want to send a representative forward, if you just want to say, yes, I'm for this rezone, I'm against this rezone, that's fine. Or if you want to send representatives, if you have a petition, you can provide that to the deputy. A lot of you have also sent in comments either via phone calls or emails. That's totally fine even since the rezoning meeting, because that's not a public hearing, that's just an email or a phone call, and we've passed those all amongst ourselves. If one of us received it, we made sure all the other 4 had copies of it as well. So, and all 5 of us were at the rezone meeting as well, so we did hear all of your public comments then. So I'm happy to hear it, but you just have to keep it pretty much into I'm for it, I'm against it, or maybe if you have a suggestion on some other way of voting, then we can hear that, but can't hear all of the items that were rehashed during the rezone. That's the only caveat for those. If it's another agenda item, feel free to say anything you want to say about it. We just have to follow state law for these. So I'm happy to hear any public comments on our agenda items. Yes. Just tell us your name and address, please.
My name is Philip King. My address is 139 Vester Lane. On the rezoning issues, am I allowed to read just from the Whitfield County zoning ordinance?
Oh, sure.
Okay, in general. This is in regards to the rezoning from agriculture to industrial off of South River Bend Road for the crypto mining facility that's being planned there.
Yes, you can give us the legal jargon if you have that. That's
Well,
for sure. I do want to make one correction. I know it has been on the on Facebook and on the internet that this is a Bitcoin or some type of cryptocurrency mining. It is absolutely not that. It is a high-performance AI data center, which is, I was telling somebody earlier, it's like comparing a Pinto to a Rolls Royce. They both take gasoline, but they're not the same. They're not the same.
Yes.
This has solid concrete walls. Doesn't have the cooling and the fans and all that you see at a crypto mining. So I want to make sure you know there is no crypto. If you don't like Bitcoins, we don't need to have that argument. I may agree with you even because it's not a Bitcoin mining.
It is still, though, the
Data
purpose is to rezone it from agricultural to industrial, correct?
Totally
Okay.
correct, yes.
I think I speak for a lot of people here that we would just like to stay with the original purpose as stated in Whitfield County's purpose for their zoning ordinance. Online, it says that the main purpose of zoning ordinance is to promote health, safety. That's the first two things mentioned, and there are some concerns in that regard. And then further down, to protect property against blight and depreciation. And then specifically for agriculture, agriculture zoning is to protect and preserve agricultural and forest resources and associated rural characteristics. And I'm fourth generation down there raising cattle. I teach. We have people here who are definitely not against industry at all. A lot of self-made men who did very well in Dalton, Whitfield industry. But we want our community to stay agriculture. And we can do a show of hands.
Yeah, that'd be fine if you're.
But we would just like to stay with the stated goal of zoning and the specific stated goal of agriculture, and not to set this precedent of agriculture being used to preserve land cheaply until the right person can come in and buy it, because there's plenty of industrial plots that could be bought, but that land was purchased obviously because it was cheaper, and now it's just going to be arbitrarily rezoned for a different purpose. And I think that we're against that, and we'd like to. Those of us that have chosen to stay there and to move in there, I've spoken with a few tonight that I didn't know before tonight. Right. We love the way it is down there, and we just would like it to stay that way. And we ask you to keep the zoning the way it is. And if we could have a show of hands of everyone that wants to see that part stay. Thank you.
Okay.
I hope I stayed within
You sure did.
the parameters.
Yeah, appreciate you doing that. Thank you. Additional public comments on? Appreciate you threading that needle so we stay off the courts and the state laws. Or if there's other agenda items you want to talk about, happy to hear those too.
I have a question.
Gentleman's coming up, Mr. Bates, and then I'll get you.
Good evening.
Hello.
My name's Greg Bates. I live at 3133 Langley Drive in Tunnel Hill. Can I make sure I stay in the rules too? Can I address the chicken house ordinance that's going to be discussed later?
If you have a suggestion,
Okay.
vote yes or no, or something to add to it.
Okay. I just got some numbers to put out there, if that's okay, on the 200-foot setback, what that means. And so the proposed ordinance says 2 houses on 10 acres, and then another 5 acres for each additional house. So it'd be 4 houses on 20 acres.
If the lot's perfectly drawn.
If the lines are perfectly drawn, that's where I'm going.
That would be tough.
Absolutely would be tough.
Yep.
And so if you had a square piece of property that's 20 acres, it would be 930 feet on each side. And so when you set that back 200 feet off of each property line, you then have narrowed that 20 acres down. You've taken away 13.46 acres of buildable land for the chicken house. And that leaves you 6.5 acres that you could build those chicken houses on. And then that makes it 530 feet on each side. And so if you're building broiler houses, most of the time nowadays, those are 600 feet long. That's what the companies want. The farmer doesn't just arbitrarily pick a number and say, I'm gonna build this. They build what the chicken companies want. And so if they're trying to build broiler houses at 600 feet long, they can't do it because there's only 530 feet in length of buildable space. And so under these proposals, and I'm not against regulations, I get it. I really do, I understand. I've got chicken houses for those that don't know. If the minimum requirements that are going to be set forth can't be obtained, then are those requirements really fair? And but in other words, by your minimum standard, nobody can build those chicken houses. They have to go above and beyond what you say is the minimum. And so the goal is to stay 200 feet off of the property line, but that goal is not obtainable under today's conditions. So, that just, as far as a suggestion, the fans are the problem from the odor standpoint. When those fans come on and exhaust, typically those are on one end of the chicken houses. And so maybe if we can say the fans have to be a certain distance, and I'm not a fan of the 200 feet, I'm just gonna be honest with you, because it takes away so much of your buildable property. But if you could maybe, because you could at least move forward in your property if we keep the fans the 200 feet. Because again, that's where 90% of your odor is gonna come from, is the fans that's exhausting outside of those chicken houses. And so, and we're talking about perfect conditions here, the square, you know, no hills, no low spots, no wet spots, no brook or anything. And so in order, I mean, if we're going to ban the chicken industry in Whitfield County, let's say that, but by this proposal, we're basically banning the building of chicken houses in Whitfield County because we can't meet the minimum requirements that are being set forth and considered by this board. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am.
I'm Denise Newton, and I live at 145 145 Coachman Way. I used to live in Rocky Face, which is Old Dixie Highway pretty much, basically. And my question is a little more generic about who in this process is responsible for watching out for the health and environmental issues that are involved with whatever industry we are bringing in.
Well, we have inspectors that will inspect any building that gets built to make sure that it's safe. There's the EPA, the EPD from the federal, there's the EPD from the state. We don't have somebody that can measure like pollution, for example, that we don't have all those meters and all those degrees, PhDs and everything in particles or something like that. So we do depend on the state EPD to regulate. Of course, and the EPA, depending if it's like soil or water or air pollution, those type of things.
Okay, we know the EPA is being basically shut down federally now, so they're not there. And I guess I was looking for who within our community is supposed to look at what are the things that we know come about from certain industries that we know are health issues, and how can you address those?
Right. We have a local health department that's also here.
And do they get involved before in the zoning process?
When it's related to sewers and things like that, they do, yes.
Okay, and so I guess I'm trying to look at, you know, have we looked at the whole process of, you know, smelling chicken houses is one thing, but if you smell it, it's in your body, so you're getting it. You know, it affects the water. It gives us a whole lot more waste. Did we cover where all this waste is going to go from the 35 chicken houses near my house? You know, I just don't know. It doesn't sound like maybe all the work's being done if nobody actually even addresses those things. And like, okay, it's not, this other center is not the technical thing that people are griping about, but what is it, and what is it does that's bad for people? And do we really want that in our county? We could certainly, I mean, first of all, I don't see how chicken houses or possibly this pace even bring in jobs, you know, maybe a few people. Places and stuff. And there's certainly a way to grow chickens without doing it the industrial way. So there are all kinds of options, and I just think of the way Chattanooga took themselves from a just industrial awful city to a place where you go because it's environmental and wonderful. And I think I'd hate for Dalton to kind of be the armpit between Atlanta and Chattanooga. We could be a part of that movement. So I'd like to see us have more working towards make sure those things are answered.
Okay.
Hello. My name is Ricky Robertson, 2485 South River Bend Road. I just want to, can I talk about my experience with data centers?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I'm an IT professional. That's what I do for a living. I've been in and out of data centers, all from from Chattanooga, Tennessee to Dallas, Texas, small, large. And my experience with data centers, whether they're the big concrete walls or the smaller ones, they're still very loud. They're very loud, they're very resource intensive, takes a lot of power, takes a lot of water, keep it cooled, keep it powered. And from my experience, even the very large ones I've been in Dallas, Texas, they employ very few people. From most of the times, it's a few security officers and a few administrative folks, and so I just want to express that concern. I know it. I've been around them a lot, and that humming is very, very distinctive and very loud. So I just want to express that and give some other things for you to consider. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am.
My name is Michelle Schuler. My address is 3423 South River Bend Road. Not only are the data centers very resource intrusive, there also needs to be plans in place as to what happens in the case of an emergency. They do use a lot of glycol. That certain ones are not harmful, certain ones are. When they do have mishaps with those, they're very detrimental to the environment around us. They also, the data centers, all of their equipment that they use becomes obsolete within 3 to 5 years. So all of that equipment has to be disposed of, and it can't go to the landfill. It has to be disposed of correctly because of all the mercury and the lead that's in those parts and all the things that's in there. So not just the fact that we feel like that in that area we don't want that industry in there. There's a lot of health potentials down the road that people don't know about right now. So down the road, there could be a whole lot more that we figure out. And the plan does need to be in place of how to get rid of that equipment as it needs to be, because it won't be long and it will be obsolete and it'll have to be gotten rid of. And we don't want it.
My name's Wendell Bruce. I live at 3715 Old Tilton Road with my wife. About 5 years ago, we invested almost all our entire life savings in 125 acres along Old Tilton, with the understanding it was zoned Ag 1. Obviously, there's going to be a change possibly in our neighborhood, and I want you to let us know that we are adamantly against this change. This is supposed to be a rural area, small farms, and that's what we have, and that's what we want to stay. Thank you.
Any comments on any other items?
Darrell Long, 4310 Troy Lane. I voted against zoning. I spent a good bit of money back then campaigning against zoning. They finally won me over with the fact that they said they had done all this research, and in order for a county to grow and prosper, that there had to be places set aside for agriculture, and they had to be places set aside for residential. They had to be put aside for business. And so they laid out this long thing where they're gonna zone all this stuff, and we agreed to it. And now every month, and that's been for 16 years, I've come in here, and you gentlemen have changed something. So, and y'all tell me that what y'all change is for the betterment of Whitfield County. So my question for y'all, was them commissioners way back then lying to me, or y'all lying to me?
My name is Wilma Gibson, and I live at the south end of Riverbend Road, very in the bend of the river. My family's lived there probably close to 100 years. We've had to endure quite a few things in Riverbend. Fish floating on the river, chemicals. We've had to endure a lot of things. Now it's another kind of forever chemical. But this, I have been there since 1970, and I would like to have some peace and quiet the rest of my stay in Riverbend. So I'm against this. I wish you would vote it down, not for this rezoning. Keep it agricultural. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brandy Brewer. I live at 2789 Old Tilton Road, and our family is also not in favor of the rezoning from agriculture to industrial, as we rely a lot on the wildlife there. We are a family who hunts. We hunt on our property. We're very dependent on the food that we get from our own property, and the building of this large data center is going to probably disturb a lot of the wildlife. So I would just like for you to take that into consideration for the families who live in that area, who are dependent on, the wildlife for part of our food.
Thank you for the time. My name is Cameron Whaley, fourth generation, Riverbend Road. Speaking on behalf of my parents, Star and Truman Whaley. We've been operating a cattle farm there for almost 100 years. Our property and the Mason property are directly impacted by this. With setbacks the way they are now, we could possibly have this data center, say that in air quotes, within 50 feet of our back pasture. We have registered polled Hereford cattle, breeding stock, that's my parents' retirement. These are very valuable animals. And if you do a simple Google search, these data centers are not good for livestock. It causes infertility, irregular calving patterns, not to mention the unknown effects that we haven't seen in 20 years, and for the next 20 years. We don't know. There's a lot of unknowns in this. I see the seal on the Whitfield County, Georgia seal here, and ironically, there's a cow there. We really need to think about what we're doing. There's plenty of old buildings in this town that can be repurposed. We just did one. We did one in 2018. We renovated. The Joint Development Authority takes people by there to show what can be done and repurposed and rehabbed. Why would we take a buffer of ag land when there's plenty of room? I understand the power requirements. There's enough power that these buildings are going to use to power 1 million homes. Where's that power going to come from? Thank you.
Okay, we're starting to get into more than just yes or no. So just if you're talking about the data center, don't repeat anything and just tell me if you're for it or against it, or if you've got something else, feel free.
My name is Sasha Cordell, live at 337 Springfield Way. That is off Riverbend. Me and my family are not for it. We have been here. We are now a 6th generation on the farm. We also have autistic kids that live on our house, in our house, and then along the area. And as being against it, not only is the humming going to drive them crazy, which, I'm originally from Day County, moved down here. My husband is the one that's been here for generations. My son has thrived since we have moved to Whitfield County because of the fact of the silence, the quietness, the peace, as he himself puts it, being where we are at. And if these data centers come in and the humming from them because of the cooling, because of the sound. That is something that is going to drive him up the wall yet again. He has thrived being in Whitfield County, and that is one of the things that we preach to everybody who talks about moving here, is the peace and the improvement that he himself has had being on the spectrum. That is something that we have stressed about, and and the main reason that we are against the fact of this data center coming in and its zoning from agricultural to industrial is because it'll take setbacks, not only for my son, but for anybody else who has sensory issues or that is on the spectrum that is in the area. Thank you.
My name is Willard Redwine, 287 Tilton Road. No.
My name's Stephen Ratcliffe at 2731 Old Tilton Road. I'm also speaking on behalf of my dad, Steve Ratcliffe. He's not able to make this meeting tonight. He's got brain cancer and is terminally ill. You're trying to put these plants in his front yard. He can't go nowhere. We're fourth generation. We've lived here our whole lives. Every bit of peace and prosperity we have there, you're trying to take it away from us, and we're against it.
My name is Jerry Jacks. I live close to Tilton, over in Carbondale. Somewhere about a mile from my place that I live at now, 3 years ago, there was a high-pitched turbine. I could hear morning and night. Thank God the company either went out of business or they got enough money to fix their equipment, okay? The noise is gone. Me and the wife went up to Murphy, North Carolina this weekend. And you've all seen the internet about the Murphy cryptocurrency operation, where it distressed the county, distressed the city. I spent my life making sure that problems didn't exist or didn't happen. I went up to Murphy to find out firsthand. Some beautiful houses within 200 feet of the cryptocurrency footprint. Now that footprint is a postage stamp from what I hear that's being discussed. I mean, I'm talking about a postage stamp. And there are no new houses being developed there. I talked to half a dozen people. The issue has got better because they put walls around the postage stamp to cut down on the noise. The neighbors that I talked to agree with that. But still, as far away as a half a mile, they get the hum. So the facts are the facts. If you're dealing with a postage stamp, you got a minute problem. If you're talking about the size of facility that I hear is being discussed, you've got a monster. So I believe that there's enough intelligence here to come to the right decision. I've looked at your pedigrees and your credentials, and I'm impressed. Thank you.
Good evening. Tim Thomason. I own 5 properties on Colonial Way. Wow, what else needs to be said? Seems like all the people's out tonight voicing their opposition to this center. We simply don't know enough about it. I noticed at the last meeting, it was open for public comment, and I was watching it on Facebook, and the people was being told that they had to hurry, that there wasn't enough time, and I brought it up to Mr. Robbins tonight that that's what I witnessed, and he said he didn't remember that happening. Maybe I'm incorrect, but I'll look. But our family moved there right after the Cherokee Land Laundry. There's my grandson is in the audience. He's the 5th generation that's lived on our property. And while I may not be long for this world or whatever, I've got a daughter back there and I got a grandson that I would like to look out for their welfare. We need to know more about this before we go putting it in a half a mile from the house. And I would ask y'all's consideration on that to delay the vote, whatever, till we got more time. The people are here tonight. One gentleman said the Google search being what it is, well, that's what we do, okay? Got to work a certain amount to make a living, don't have time to get into politics, but here we are. So my vote is no. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jimmy Mason. I am one of the property owners that this site is up against. And I want to bring up my grandson. He's the fifth generation. Okay. He's the fifth generation to live on that piece of property, and I'm still considered a newcomer to that area. I have bought up a lot of land down throughout the years to build a farm, and I'm working approximately 1,000 acres right now of farmland. Like the Whaley, so I got cattle, I got sheep. I have a lot of operations that has to do with farming. And this will really just burn this. Plus this little kid's growing up 1,000 feet from it.
Any other comments? All right, we'll close the first public comment. Again, there'll be another one. You can tell us about anything. Doesn't have to be on the agenda at the end of the meeting. We're back to our alcohol beverage. Were there any questions or concerns about this? I believe the background check was completed successfully. Is there a motion to approve the Reed Food Mart?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner State. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. All right, we'll start with the first item related to the zoning ordinance. The planning and zoning approved the language. That language is still posted online, hasn't been changed as far as our online posting. They did recommend or suggest, I guess, a 60-day moratorium if we needed more time to address the subdivision or any other potential issues with it. It's very difficult to do a moratorium according to our legal because you have to put a lot of loopholes in there to make it work, and it wouldn't really satisfy, I don't think, the people if we did a moratorium versus just getting the regulation out there, and we can always tweak it or amend it, whether it be more strict or less strict down the road. There's nothing permanent about an ordinance. It just requires a two-month process to change, basically.
I'll make a motion to accept the planning commission's recommendation without the moratorium.
Motion to approve the language as is. Is there, without the moratorium? Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. Is there further discussion?
Yeah, I don't necessarily like it because it's taking an acre-wide piece of property from all the way around the farmer's property. But it is some sacrifice to the farmer.
Right.
They're not happy. I know the audience is probably not happy.
Oh, yep, y'all got to pull the mics down for those folks.
Okay, I'm not happy with this. I'm sure a lot of the audience is not happy, but the farmer's losing an acre-wide strip all the way around his whole property. So he's the one sacrificing here a lot. And I'm sure they're not gonna be happy. I'm not either, but.
Greg, that's why I'm not opposed to special use permits. I mean, because there are certain tracts of land that great for poultry farming. There are certain tracts that are not.
I'm okay with them building 6 or 8. As I told the commissioners, I would like to have a special use permit after they exceed, they tell us they need 8 to make money. I'm okay with that. But if they need 9 or 10 or 12, then why do they need so many more? I would support a special use on that. But that's not the motion we made, but I'm just going on the record saying I'd be okay with that as well.
You already got a motion and a second, right?
Yep. Any other discussion, or is there a call to question? Or?
So right now, the motion is the 200 feet?
Yeah, the standard, I think there was 4 points in that ordinance.
Special use requirement, I think.
And, okay.
Yeah, eight is the limit on one piece of property, but you could,
Subdivide the property, go 200
there's
feet.
no restriction on subdividing, yeah, that's true.
You still have to meet setbacks on
On the second set?
Right.
Call for the question.
Call for the question by Commissioner Robbins. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-1 vote. All right, we voted to move up the rezone request, so let me just move ahead to that. Please correct me if I'm wrong. What I did is group the 6, not necessarily in order, but the 6 items that I did not have any, I did not note any public opposition or concerns from staff. They all passed 4-0 from the planning board, and they did not, like I said, did not have public comment. So that's Ms. Silva, Ms. Cronin, Mr. Donahue, and then Ms. Tucker, and Crow Road Holdings, and Ms. Strong. I think it's Ms. Strong, or Macy Strong.
Motion to approve those with no opposition.
Motion to approve items A, C, D, F, G, and H, the 6 items that had no public opposition.
Second.
There's second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion on these 6? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. All right, we'll move to the first one for the night that had the most opposition, I guess, both 2 weeks ago and tonight on the rezone for the data center. We did have a few updates, which we can make available to the public. That's no issue over the weekend. But we just got them. A acoustic study was done, an independent study on the noise level. So that's a public report we can share. Basically, it said that at the property line, the decibel readings would be below or at 55 decibels. So that, right now, for example, since I'm using a microphone, I'm probably speaking at about 70 decibels. The typical conversation is maybe 60 to 65. So that is just an idea of what the acoustics would. So we can hold them accountable with that study. They also agreed to a 30-foot vegetative buffer. I heard someone speak about the setbacks, which of course those apply too, but that doesn't require you to have trees or vegetation or anything else to help reduce noise, and of course hide the office data center complex as well. So they've agreed to a vegetative buffer around the property of a 30-foot deep buffer. So just a few updates, and again, like I mentioned, it's not for Bitcoin. The Bitcoin or any type of currency, cryptocurrency, is a completely different design. As you saw in Murphy with the fans, there's like 200 fans sometimes these have, versus the water cooling that's done internal to the data center for the type that's been proposed here. And we do have drawings, so it's not like we have to take their word for it. We have drawings of the concrete building, and the cooling will be internal. So just a few updates since the planning and zoning meeting. Other questions or concerns from the commissioners?
Yeah, I've been back and forth on this, and the bottom line, now that I've heard y'all tonight, this is a big change, going from rural residential, general ag to M2. And I've come to the conclusion that that facility would be better somewhere else. So I'm making I'm making a motion not to support the rezoning.
Motion by Commissioner Thomas to deny the rezone. Is there a second?
We the people that pay you are speaking. We're all here.
Going once, please be quiet. Is there a second going twice? Motion fails for lack of a second.
What's the point of agricultural zoning if it can be changed arbitrarily once somebody buys the land?
Is there a motion to approve the rezone?
What recourse do we have if their report is incorrect? Can we shut it down and have it moved out? No, don't say we. What is the recourse?
We've already had a public comment, I'm sorry.
What about the cows? Did you do a test on what it does to the animals around there or just the humans?
Or do you just see the dollar signs?
And what happens to our property value? You got a room full of people saying we agree with the agricultural zoning that's on your website, that is the reason those zoning laws were established, to preserve agriculture and forest resources and associated rural characteristics.
Okay.
That's what it's for.
I understand.
And we
We've
want to
heard.
keep it that way.
We've heard. I understand it's emotional. I understand, but we have heard every comment.
Emotional, it's where we live. Do you represent the people?
Is there, I have no, there's no conflicts. There's nobody making any money off of this from the commissioners.
I got one question. Which one of the commissioners live in the zone if we're talking about rezoning? Mary Robbins. Right there. Where do you live, sir?
Off of Dug Gap Road.
And that's gonna affect where I'm at on Riverbend? I don't think so.
It-
Right across the street from us.
Think about
Foot
it,
of
you
my
can sit up
driveway.
there next time you get voted in.
Are you planning on rerunning?
Okay, we've had a lot of comments. There's no yelling. We've had plenty of public comments. We've heard everything. I'm just asking, is there a motion to rezone?
Thank you, John Thomas.
Brandy's the only one sitting up there next time.
I'm sorry, no.
Y'all gonna do what you fucking wanna do.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Staton to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed?
You oppose it?
Come on.
Tie vote.
Please, Mr. Jensen.
I vote to approve.
What happens to our
Who
property
are you
value?
serving? The voters are here in front of you.
Voters are
Hey.
here. We're here. We
Who
live
are you
here.
serving,
We told you how
sir?
we feel. You won't be in office.
We would like the zoning to stay what it is.
Except for John.
So anybody can buy anything and just have it changed to suit their whim, then zoning laws serve no purpose. We want where we live and where we grow food and where we work to stay separate. That's the purpose of the zoning law.
Once they do that, what happens to our property value? And nobody wants to live or purchase anything around where we're at.
The next item is the rezone of Mr. Rangel to general agriculture, or from general agriculture
No, to general agriculture.
to general agriculture. There were several comments about the borders and the building permit and the property survey.
Question, Jevin, please. I just
You
got a
can
quick-
call me anytime.
Well, I just got a question I want to ask the board on this thing.
We don't have public comments.
Y'all have done voted it, but I just want to make a point of it. Y'all never did put a sign up on the big lot of property. It was never had a rezoning sign established except on the 5 acres, so y'all can legally only vote on the 5-acre property according to y'all's laws.
Yep, you can talk to Gene about that for sure.
Well, Gene, you never did post the other big property. There's only one post put up on the 5-acre property. So
Are you
all we
aware of
can
that?
approve would be the 5 acres, that's the only piece.
Robert said that's not true.
Outstanding to do there to the community. Thank you for the
None of the other homeowners were ever informed of the meeting changing to another date. So there is grounds of appeal.
Yep, you're right. Okay.
Go ahead, Tim, you want to unload on?
I was just gonna say that, from what I seen the last meeting wasn't held according to the law.
Zoning laws mean nothing when somebody buys it and wants to do something else.
Let's take
No
our
point having
people,
it.
because the only way that we can get our voice on the record is to speak into this microphone.
Well, we don't have public comments now.
Hey, I seen you, sir, at the last meeting telling people to hurry. I seen you at the last meeting telling people this is the last vote.
I don't know what you mean.
Did I imagine that?
We didn't have that.
I didn't
meeting.
call,
Mr. Litterdale.
it was, I wasn't the chairman of that meeting. He was sitting here, but it was Mr. Leaderdale.
The gentleman sitting there,
Okay,
forgive me, I didn't.
yeah. Different chairman,
I'm watching it on the screen.
different chair, yeah.
Commissioner Thomas, you are correct. That was Commissioner Litterdale.
That meeting was not held according to the law.
Okay,
It's not binding.
may not be.
Mr. Robbins, it's not binding, Chairman Jensen.
Okay, you may be right.
You will be hearing. This is my daughter. We didn't get a fair say in it. No one, people that has to work, we heard about the meeting. Here you are rubber stamping it right in front of us. You got all these people standing up that deserve to be heard. The only way that we can get on the record to speak into this, go ahead and shut me down. Go ahead.
We had an hour of public comment. I don't know what you mean.
Yes.
An hour.
Last week,
Okay,
I was telling people to rush.
that was not me, sir. That was not me.
Okay. The only way that this gets on the record is if you step up here, quit speaking from the back.
She's staff. She's a staff member. Whoa, 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 whoa. We're going to ask you to leave now. That's enough. This is not public comment.
No, no,
No, it's not.
yeah. Blanca can.
Hey, we're done. Back to the rezone from rural R5 to GA. This was approved, but we had several comments both in the meeting and since the meeting about the structures that were built without a permit, about trash on the property, and
Motion.
lack of
Motion.
motion to approve with the instructions of staff. Is that okay? There's not conditions, but just instructions for the staff to verify the property lines.
That's right.
Yeah. And,
That's right.
yeah, what I'm getting at.
And I think they've already looked, so, but
Maybe you have. Motion by Commissioner Robbins. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Staton. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote.
Sheriff, can you close the door, please, or move them over?
The Tunnel Hill Historic Site, we always lease this out. We have a new leasee, and the property owner will continue to maintain the property as well as mow the battlefield property, but it is a new agreement.
When you go back to the front. You going back.
Oh, my bad.
He's trying to get under an hour, guys, so.
Yeah. Public Works, we're ready for Public Works now. We're repairing, we already knew that they needed repair from the storm damage, but they also had planned a bathroom and a roof expansion there. So there's a motion, or a proposal to approve $27,000 for SPLOST 2020 and $63,000 from our 2025 capital to both repair the damage as well as go ahead and do the roof and the bathrooms at the same time for the Public Works. Motion by Commissioner Thomas, second by Commissioner Staton. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. Public Works, we approved a striping equipment earlier. This is to go with that, an RPM, which I think is an aluminum, basically application trailer for $30,000 to help them with striping when the.
Motion.
It's the little reflectors.
Oh, it's for the reflectors. Okay, not for the, but it goes with the striping, but yeah, the reflectors, okay.
Yep. Motion.
Motion to approve $30,000 out of 2020 SPLOST by Commissioner Robbins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor?
To ride on that little thing.
He's retired, that'd be a good job for him.
All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Passes on a 4-0 vote. And this is a purchase of a roller, paving roller. We have one already, but it's broken down several times last year, even though we set a record with the miles paved.
Motion made.
Motion for $201,700 out of 2024 SPLOST, second by Commissioner Staton. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. and a 30-inch planer also for Public Works. We do have one, but it would cost almost half the value to repair it because it's currently broken.
Motion.
Motion to approve 29,847 and 2024 SPOS, second by Commissioner Staton. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. And the, this is a memo of understanding between ourselves or our attorney, district attorney, and the VOCA. So we got a grant for October through September of 2025. But we need to actually accept it and sign that memo of understanding.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Staton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion?
Are there any funds that are going to be matching on a grant?
It's the same amount. I don't think there's a match. It's $125,000 is the grant. I don't recall. There is another item we have to transfer some funds, but no, I don't think there's any match.
On this one?
But it's the same one we've gotten for many years, so no different, no increase or decrease. But I don't think there's a match, no.
Okay.
All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. First responders. There's a PTSD for our fire department and our sheriff's department, even our first responders in the jail, that we need to sign this so we can provide therapy and issues if there is a traumatic event and PTSD program to help them recover and provide therapy for that. So it's a good program. We just need to ratify a resolution so we can provide the insurance for that.
Clearly beneficial. I'll make the motion.
Yep. Yeah, we've had a few, of course, deaths and fires and things like that. So that can happen at any time and be pretty traumatic. Motion by Commissioner Robbins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. Our Miracle Field, we've got money in our 2020 SPLOS for a playground. We've got an initial quote of $125,000, but we want to work with the Miracle League sponsors to design that playground and upgrade that playground for $125,000. So we haven't picked the final design, but it won't exceed that price.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Staton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion?
Yeah. Are these folks aware of the parameters of the 125 and know what there's already a plan in place?
Yeah, that's basically what we're setting is the amount, so they can work within that to come up with the best
There
design.
will need to be a contingency to overruns or anything, so.
No, I think the original budget was 200, so actually we're below that.
Okay,
So we even have room if we need to, but they said they could be below that,
okay. Any other comments?
which is
on
good.
this?
Any other comments or questions?
Well, it's been there pretty good
Since
while.
since the beginning, right?
Yeah, so it's in bad shape and it needs to be replaced.
yeah.
There's a lot of stuff they had to
And
close.
it is heavily used.
Yes.
Right, yeah. It is in need of refurbishing for sure. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. Our fire department bid out. We had 4 vendors, so that was good. I know some of the equipment we only have one vendor on, but we have 4 quotes from this. There's different, you see the quantities there and the type of equipment that they need and the amounts, but the spreadsheet has more details in it. But just need to approve that from our 2024 SPLOS to replace that equipment that we can only use so many times before we have to replace it.
Approve.
Motion by Commissioner Staton. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. The fire department, let's see. Oh, we won this award, as you can see, with our program with the GNTC, the local technical school. And so we're expanding that where they can now get associate credit, college credit towards their state medical certifications in addition to be a future firefighter with us. So just expanding that program with this memo of understanding. Motion to approve that.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Jones, a second by Commissioner Staton. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. IT, this is in our budget for our email. We're actually going to expand it and cover all email accounts now as opposed to just the primary staff. So this will expand that and protect us from the malware even further. But we have to renew it regardless. But this actually covers everybody with an email account for 3 years.
It's been budgeted in this exact amount of 182 is.
Well, $60,000 per year, but this is a
Okay.
3-year agreement.
Right.
But we would just owe $60,906 for this year.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins, second by Commissioner Staton. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. The commissioners have been looking at options for our staff that's currently at South Hamilton Street, a permanent home. We've looked at purchasing that building, refurbishing buildings downtown, and also building a new building on county property. So we've gotten a quote, and there's some discussion on the size of it, but this is to move forward with retaining experts to design and build a new building on our county property over here. It depends on the size and number of floors, though.
I make a motion to build 4 floors, 3 finished, 1 unfinished for future growth.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Jones to move ahead with 4 floors in the county-owned, or build on a county-owned property. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Staton. Any further discussion? I personally think that's too large. I agree with we need room to grow and expand, but I don't think we need that to be approximately 120% bigger. That's just my opinion, but I think that's too much growth that we wouldn't have that much staff.
I too would prefer 3 floors finished.
Yep.
And it would be, 3 floors finished would be well more than 30% of what we're in now.
It would be 60-something%, yeah, over 60% growth.
That's over
space
30.
Compared to what we have now, yeah, way over 30.
That allows plenty of room for growth, 3 floors, because I don't think we're not going to be occupying all 3 floors.
Even 3 floors, we wouldn't occupy all of it, no.
So it would appear that, I don't know what we'd do the 4th floor, even with 3 floors not.
I'm good with planning for decades. I don't know about a century ahead of time.
It's cheaper to build up,
Yeah.
out.
You can't add on to it after you build it, going up, and that lot doesn't have much property. So
No.
there's, once we build it, there's not gonna be any expansion outward at all. And
Right.
You
Yep.
can't, you
And it'll
can't go
attach
back
to
on top
the,
and
it'll
start
attach to the
again.
parking deck.
The parking deck, yeah.
It will.
Whether it's 3 floors or 4 floors, it'll attach to the parking deck. We also have the Thorpe building that we're closing on next month, so there's 15 or 16, I think, 1,000 square feet in that. And then we could always use the property, the old church now as future growth. So there's definitely land and space around here for that, but I just don't think we need 40 or 50 plus years of space right now, especially when we have other properties.
Considering the Wells Fargo building is for sale, so
Yep.
we need to get going regardless of,
Yeah, we have nowhere to go.
right.
We got a motion and a second. Call for the
Yep.
vote.
All in favor of retaining the experts and a 4-floor total building?
Starting soon, right?
Yeah, on the design, yes, on the design.
The design, yeah.
We vote.
All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed? Passes on a 4-1 vote.
I think that was a tie.
No, it was not a tie. We have a time capsule event coming up. It's right over here near the flags, and it was planted 50 years ago, and that expires in a couple of months here. So we just want to approve the buildings and ground unearthing that and have a opening of the contents on May 24th, 2025.
Are you sure that's 26? I believe it's 2026.
We can double check. I was told it was this year. We need to check?
I need to make sure.
Maybe the motion should be buildings and grounds confirm the date.
Yeah,
You think it was 1776? Okay.
yeah, I've been thinking every time I walk by there and see it.
It's 1776.
Of course, my eyes are failing a little bit.
Maybe the, okay,
You know,
okay.
I'm thinking we still got to wait another year.
1 year.
I wish it was 2025, but I believe it says 2026.
Okay, well, we'll check that. We've got our
We'll
April meeting.
check it.
Yep, that's fine.
Do we need to undo that motion then?
We'll have motion to verify the date. How about that? Sure. Is there a second to verify the date of the time capsule? Second. What? 2026? Okay.
It is 2026.
Then we'll open it. Okay.
So we're a year ahead.
We'll rescind the motion. Motion to table item 20 for a year.
Motion to table it.
Motion by Commissioner Staton to table. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote.
Should be a 5-0 since you were.
Yeah.
I voted enough tonight.
Okay.
We got 3 annexations. The first one is Tunnel Hill, 2 parcels, and no land use objection.
On all of them?
On the, well, I guess we can take them all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
take them all.
there's Tunnel Hill, there's 1 parcel in the city of Dalton, and 1 in the city of Varnell.
Motion to approve all 3.
Motion by Commissioner Staton to approve all 3. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Thomas. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. The Domestic Violence Court would like to move approximately a little less than half, about $16,500 of their fund balance to cover office expenses and surveillance payroll. They do have a grant, but the grant does not cover some of these items, so that's just covering the other items that run the Domestic Violence Court. No money out of the general fund, but just a motion to move
Motion
those
to
funds.
approve.
Motion by Commissioner Staton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Robbins. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. We received, whenever we apply for these grants and then receive them, and then we have to do a multiple steps, contracts, and things like that. So this was accepted in January for the opioid crisis settlement of $110,000, and now we just have to approve the grant contract and a resolution as part of receiving that.
Make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Thomas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. Community wildfire, again, when you do a grant, you start at the very beginning, so this is just the approval to apply for the grant. This would be with the U.S. Forestry. We do proactive burns already, but we don't want to end up like they had the fires in California, so we want to see if we have a comprehensive plan. This will help pay for that and see if we need to do additional work or additional burns to prevent runaway fires, forest fires.
Has it already been applied for, sir?
No. Just seeking approval to apply. We haven't won it. We haven't even applied yet.
And our grants writer will facilitate?
Yes.
Motion to apply for the grant.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Staton, second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. We've already done the rezones. We've already done, we did vote on the county lease, or we stopped before we?
We stopped.
Stopped, yeah. We went back and finished up. So again, we just have a new leasee, and he's agreed to keep up the property and mow it like the previous one at the historic site in Tunnel Hill. Is there a motion to approve that lease agreement?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Thomas. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. And we need to ratify our Deputy County Administrator's F-150, very stripped-down model, cloth seats probably, 3 wheels at least. Okay. $55,950 from our local Ford dealer. Motion to ratify that purchase?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner State. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion?
Did he second it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 4-0 vote. If you recall, the schools, both the county schools at least, opted out of the House Bill 581 property assessment, and the local legislatures have dropped a Bill 235 that would put that back on the ballot without an option for Whitfield County in November. The option to opt out would be removed, I should say. It would have the same exact wording and concept as far as freezing the properties to inflation. Is there a motion to approve Senate Bill 235? Our local legislatures need that before they do the final vote. Put it on the ballot.
I make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Staton. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. And this is one we added to the agenda. This is a surplus from our engineering department, an old plotter that they want to dispose of on Gov Deals. The original price was $18,000. We'll see what we get. Okay to declare that a surplus?
Motion to declare it surplus.
Motion by Commissioner Staton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Any opposed, nay. Passes on a 3-0 vote. All right, we had a public comments earlier. I know we had to follow the rules on the public hearing, but there's open now. It doesn't matter what contents it's on or what it's about. We're happy to hear you. Just stay within the 5-minute limit. Any public comments?
Yes, I'm Mike Key, live in the Leisure Lake community. I know you've heard from me before. Question on procedure. Earlier tonight, y'all voted to pass the zoning ordinance. That's the first reading, is that correct?
No, it's been read several times, actually.
It's been, well, it's the second reading, so it is in effect.
It is in effect, yes.
After that. The reason I'm asking is I'm looking at some of the procedure, and I had a question about the vote and how you vote.
Yep.
And the questions I have are, and I'm just gonna ask, is anybody here in the poultry business? I think you are. Is anyone associated with poultry, have friends in the poultry business, family, that type thing? Is there any of that? There's two. Last question was, does anyone receive campaign money from the poultry industry? Any contributions? No? Okay. All right. With all that being said, I was looking through some of the county ordinances, and I seen something about disclosure of interest in legislative action. It's in your ethics code, I believe. And my question is how that lines up with the vote. And there's some requirements in here, if E-law is correct. It's, looks like 12-25. It talks about, basically, Board of Commissioners have financial or personal interest in any proposed legislation before the commission shall disclose on the record the nature and extent of such interest. And my question is, where can we find that information where those disclosures have been made?
There's a public financial disclosure with the election office, and it's filled out every year by the commissioners, or any elected office, judges as well.
What about the personal interest in the, in this, or I guess if you're in the business, I would assume that that's a financial interest, I would assume.
That's in there.
It's in the financial interest, yeah. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
just,
Could you, this is what I would ask, would you compare 12-25 to the procedure? That's the bottom line that I would ask, and compare it to that.
In general, Mr. Chairman, just as a reminder to the board, you have, if you have a direct financial interest, then you have a conflict and you're not allowed to vote on any item.
Yeah.
If you believe that there is an appearance of impropriety, it is your choice to choose to vote or choose not to vote. But the only time that you're excluded would be if you have a direct financial interest.
Okay, it's a little unclear when you read that in comparison. So I guess you're saying that this is okay? Is that what are you saying that now, or would you like to discuss it, or I mean, what would you prefer?
Well, I mean, it's up to the Board of Commissioners to determine whether they have a direct financial interest.
Okay.
And it's pretty direct.
What would be the norm? I guess that would be the question. I'm not saying you have any type of sideline conflict or anything. I'm just asking. That's what I'm asking.
What was the question?
You can explain it to him later if you'd like. We're talking about the, basically the version of ethics policy versus the voting procedure in regards to how you vote and who has interest in certain items that's being voted on. We're talking about the poultry issue in particular.
Typically, a direct financial interest would be if the Board of Commissioners was approving a contract with,
A vendor.
a vendor that's directly where any of their, where they would receive any compensation.
No, I'm not alleging that. What I'm saying is, it doesn't say that. It says who has a financial or personal interest. That's, if you have friends or family or yourself involved in an industry, would you normally vote on that? That's the question. I guess that's the bottom line.
It's a lot closer than I think what you're implying there.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, you have to, like, if you're rezoning a property that you own, you can't vote on that. If you're doing something with a vendor that you have you own 10% of, you can't vote on doing business or a contract with them, for example.
Okay, all right. So that would be okay.
Yep.
The next thing I would ask is, if any member or all of your members, it doesn't matter, would like to attend a board meeting for the Leisure Lake HOA, we'd be glad to have 1 or 2 or 5 or whatever you may have. We're gonna try to do that within the next 10 days. So if y'all wanna discuss that and turn us down, or.
If you get with the county clerk and tell her the date and time.
Yeah,
I'm sure
location.
she-
Yeah.
Well, we would leave that open for you to work with your schedules. I mean,
she can tell us when the meeting is.
Okay, I know, but,
Yeah, we'll try to be.
all right. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Little strange day. I noticed that people that have chicken houses didn't want the ordinance passed, and maybe some people that didn't want chicken houses didn't want the ordinance passed, but passed anyway, so a little different. All right. If you'd like to be.
Hello, folks. We had the meeting with the zoning board and a lot of things were
Name and address-
discussed.
Name and address for the.
Morgan.
Oh, William Morgan, Mount Pleasant, where a lot of the chicken problems have risen. The setbacks are going to help a little bit, but we still have other other problems that need to be addressed with this. And it may be something at the building inspector's office that could be done through the zoning board. They're putting their fans blowing directly into the homes, okay? That's why this was brought up when we had the last meeting. But nothing was brought up in the ordinance that passed tonight. And I heard you say earlier that this could be readdressed, modified, plus, minus. That's all fine and well too, but we still have the problem. And a lot of people tonight spoke on health issues, and I'm gonna beat that drum again. We don't know exactly what all is transpiring with the chicken industry building in residential areas and how it's gonna affect folks. I said earlier in that last meeting that I would like to see a board formed to where you have the general public, a couple of people that may live in that area. Commissioner, I know you can't make a quorum, but I understand that. But somebody needs to represent the board and the zoning folks. Even if you had to bring in your building inspector and your EPA guy. I mean, there needs to be some form of discussion without voting to where folks can digest and basically do what might be recommendations by that group. I know you zoning board don't meet every month, and I understand that. And I know some of you's in the business, and I get that too. There's a lot of folks here that's in the business process. But I still would like to see some more regulations on this, especially around the homes. The homes are the ones that's getting the brunt of this. The farmer that's got 150 acres, 200 acres, 1,000 acres, he can position that stuff any way he wants to. He can make those fans blow wherever. But to blow it in the back door of these homes is absolutely ludicrous. If they can't blow it, they don't need to build it. If they can't turn those fans in another direction, other than the back door of somebody's house that has to live there, breathe there, I mean, we don't know what it's gonna cause in the future. We should not allow it. The setbacks it's a start, and I appreciate that. But we still got a long way to go with this. We didn't talk about the subdivision, them taking a farm and breaking it down, and then you got 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. Well, we're right back to 64 again. That was never brought up or discussed in this meeting. But yet, we brought it up to the zoning folks. So I guess in essence, you know, it's still a problem, and it's still gonna have to be addressed. And it's gonna take you folks to do it. I mean, we can come to every meeting, a whole lot of us here, that were tonight. We can keep coming, keep harping, keep grinding, keep taking up time. But I don't think that's what we need to do. I think it needs to be addressed. I don't care if you have to make a new zoning class. We talked about that, of doing commercial agricultural. We understand the farmer that wants to do 2 or 3, 4 houses. We get that. We live in that vicinity. We live in the agricultural area. But this mega stuff and these large houses, you're running this county, folks. I'm just telling you, because they're building high-dollar homes where they're wanting to build these houses. And everybody's property is getting ready to go to the toilet. And I mean, where do we stop? Where does the landowner and the farmer and the investors, where does it stop to where it protects us? Or when are you going to stop it? Now, he gave you an invitation to a meeting. Not a bad idea, I don't think. Do you, Mike? I'm going to give you another invitation. I'll have a barbecue on Mount Pleasant Road. I'll do it. And every one of you folks are invited, including you, sir. It'll be a new experience for you. You can bring your families and your kids, and we'll just have a day of it, and we'll let them sit there and smell this stuff all day long like we have to put up with it. So if you want to come to a barbecue, I'll get with your clerk. I'll give her a date, and we'll all just go have some fun. How about that? Yeah, we might even cook chicken. Thank you. Chicken. No chicken.
Yes, sir. Nick Connor, 163 Ola Drive. A little different situation, asking for a future judgment, a future variance, if you don't mind. No, to give to everyone, that way they know what I'm talking about there. There's 5 of them. I've pulled this off the area maps here so you can see what I'm asking for and what to me is just direct common sense. I don't understand the zoning, don't understand the rule, the law, and come to find out, this is actually just recently changed within just months prior to me purchasing this property anyway. If you'll look on this map, it says Cronin Drive, and there's a line between the Cronin and the drive. That's the end of the county road maintenance. If you'll follow that white line, it's a 30-foot easement. You'll come on down, you'll see a vacant piece of property with a question mark. Then you come on down, follow continuing on the same 30-foot easement, 4.45 acres that I own. There's an existing mobile home there. There's an existing septic tank there. There was an existing mobile home at that septic tank prior up to the date of 2015. Now then, I meet with Miss Jean. She tells me the existing mobile home there that really needs to be renovated. I can put a duplex, I can put a new home, another mobile home, I can do what will there. But I cannot put another mobile home that once was there anyway. Didn't make a lot of sense. I asked a few questions. The first answer I get was because of the 30-foot right-of-way. Well, I can put a duplex, which is 2 family dwellings, but I can't put a separate mobile home. The question mark up there is probably a half acre or less. That, I know this family very well, and they're fixing to ask for a building permit to put a mobile home there. I questioned that authority, and I was told, the zoning can't tell these people what to do with their property. But I can't put another mobile home on 4.45 acres? I'm asking for a common sense variance.
Robert, that would have to go to zoning appeals, wouldn't it?
It would. The Board of Commissioners has no authority to grant any type of variance. In looking at this parcel, it looks like it would have, I don't know all the facts, but it looks like it would have been allowed if he'd come within a year. So, but if the non-conforming use has been gone for 10 years, then it can't be reinstated. So, as I understand it, if it's 4.45 acres, you can have, you can have 2 dwellings on a 5-acre GA parcel. Or you can subdivide it if you have county road frontage. But it looks like this one sort of is caught in that.
In between.
In that vortex in between.
Have you talked to Public Works? Have they come out and looked at the road?
Well,
I know that's one option, or one solution, I should say.
That's an end of county maintenance, and that'll forever be that way. And the reason I say that is because I know the family dwelling all around that. So all of what Mr. Smiley said here still don't make common sense to me. How are we gonna give my neighbor on a half acre or less permission to bring a double wide there, or a mobile home there? But I can't own 4.45. I can't put another mobile home there, but yet got the permission to build a duplex.
Yeah, they treat duplexes and 2 mobile homes as equal. That's just the way that's the way the law was set up, I guess, originally.
It's door frontage. I'm kind of gasping for air. And I did purchase, like I said, I purchased this property, spoke with Miss Jean, and we talked about the water and et cetera. I talked to my attorneys, got all that squared away about the time that this new order that he was talking about was passed. So
there wasn't anything passed. It's just, you have 10 years to say, I want to rebuild.
1
right?
year.
Or 1 year.
1 year.
1 year. Oh. And it was gone 10 years ago?
Yes, yes.
Oh. Another option is just to buy like a half an acre from a neighbor. Will they cut off any?
No. Because behind me, it's all agriculture around and through the state and et cetera.
Conservation?
Yeah, there'll be a lot of variables there. And I'm just asking for permission of what once was there to reinstate it.
Well, I guess we can't grant variances, so I guess our recommendation, if you don't want to extend the road or you can't buy property, is to seek a variance from the appeals board. It's just not us.
Okay, well, I was directed here.
Right, the Board of Zoning Appeals would not have authority to grant a use variance or a density variance if he wants to try to reestablish a prior
structure. That's the one thing I
prior
can think of.
non-conforming use. I suppose they
With a
have
trial.
authority to do that if they wanted to.
Yeah.
The
For the structure, for the abandoned, or
if the
the
conditions are
the
met
old
on that.
structure.
It's not this board.
Yeah, it's not us.
Well, like I said, I was directed to come here. I appreciate Mr. Jones for your time. Talked to him a couple different times on the phone.
Yeah.
I appreciate Ms. Jean.
Do you have, Greg, or I don't know. I just don't know if you don't
I
want to
don't-
extend the
I
road or you
don't know-
can't.
I don't know of any. I really don't.
So his next step would be go to the
And-
appeals board.
I mean, it would be extremely unusual if they were to do, a lot of times people will come when there's it's been a year and a month or
Right.
something, and they'll seek a variance to try to reestablish a non-conforming use, but
but we're 9 years past, right?
10.
10, yeah. Worth a shot, doesn't hurt to see.
We're still dealing with, I can't, once again, no answers.
Why can't you extend the road? What do you think is wrong with the road? You just said that's not a valid option.
It'd
Why-
have to have right of way and
Oh, and they won't
You have
give
to
it
be
to you?
50 feet.
They won't give it to you?
Yeah, it's a 30 feet from the end of that. So so where do I go from here? We're talking about.
Even if he rezoned it, tried to get it rezoned to GA,
he's not
He
big
can't, he
enough.
doesn't have enough land for GA.
because he's underneath the
Yeah.
number.
It's another question of mine. What does another 0.54 acres have to do with, I can or I can't do this?
And you can't subdivide, Gene, and then rezone it? No? That's my only idea. Let's try the appeals board. I don't have any.
Does suburban agriculture allow to? Okay.
Doesn't make sense.
So any recommendations, who I speak with, where do I go from here?
Get on the appeals board agenda?
Okay.
Yep, and then see if they'll let you reestablish that. Tell them you weren't aware of it, or whatever the case was, and just, that you're just a half an acre short, and would they just allow you to go this option, because you're kind of stuck, you're literally landlocked.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious, Whitfield County, we're having a lot of zoning issues. Hope you guys really think on this.
Yeah, you can.
I can maybe answer a question y'all was asked or not. My wife got breast cancer about 20 years ago, 25, and I was looking at her x-rays with the lung doctor, and she had all these little white nodules on her lungs, and I said, "What is them?" And he said, "I don't know." He said, "When I moved here, I didn't have them," and said, "Now I live here, and I've got, after 10 years, I've got them." He said, "Our best guess it's caused from carpet mills and chicken houses." Out of his mouth.
Hi, my name's Bonnie Hewitt. I live on 3887 Mount Pleasant Road. Can I show you a video?
I don't know. We
Very
have a-
quick.
I don't know we have a way to show it on the
Can I
screen.
come up and show it to you?
He can bring it up.
Bonnie, Mr. Jensen probably has a copy of it, because when I sent it to Chris, I copied Jensen on that video.
From Chantel? Or from who?
This is what Mr. Morgan was just referring to, why the folks can't go out and barbecue anymore, why they can't garden anymore. So if you could show that to all the gentlemen up here, maybe you might understand why some of us are protesting. How many of you would let your children play out in that? That's what happens at night or whenever the fans are on. Whitfield County gave approval for all the homes there for the chicken houses to be built right up to their homes. And the mistake they made was they put the fans facing these homes of these folks. And it's appalling what they're having to experience. Now, there's a problem with this. It looks like snow falling from the sky. The other chicken houses around us, and we have multiple, all the yellow stars are the farms. And that's not the 800 where they're trying to build the 64 across the road from our home. But these houses are not smelling
They're just putting out particles.
like, no, this one is the horrible smell that we're all suffering from, along with this. And this is all over their hair, their bodies, any surface outside.
Have you contacted the EPD, the Georgia Environmental Protection?
Georgia Department of Agriculture has been contacted.
Robert Smalley said Department of Agriculture.
So,
They regulate them for sure, and the EPD does air pollution. What'd they say?
I haven't, I'm waiting for a reply, where I wanted to show you the seriousness of what's going on. Now, we're concerned, this is the farm that's on Cohutta Beaverdale Road in Mount Pleasant. You can see it, it's like all right there. And they're about to build many more on that same property. We don't have a problem with the smell so much from the other ones, but this is atrocious.
Yep.
What we're smelling and what we're experiencing. So we are pleading for someone to please help. First of all, it was wrong for Whitfield County to give approval to put the fans facing these people's homes. The first lady in the meeting that was here lives here, and she's had to remodel her attic because of the smell coming in. There's all sorts of things, but I wanted to bring this to your attention so that you can see really what is going on. We're not talking. It's serious. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
My name is Diane Stanley, and I didn't really come here to talk, but I live on Riverbend, and when I came to the first meeting, it was to do with the chicken houses on Mount Pleasant. My family has lived in the area for over 100 years. I grew up on like a 200-acre farm, and guess what I did for a living? We raised chickens. But we had 2 houses on 200 acres, which is doable. But my father got emphysema from managing 2 chicken houses, which are very small, nothing like what they're building now. But I watched him suffer with emphysema, which actually gave him congestive heart failure. So that's basically what took him out. So I know what the smell, the feathers, and all that can do to your lungs. But with the enormous amount that they're building now, it's got to be detrimental to these people. I mean, I can't imagine, because I remember as a child, our small chicken house, when the bus would stop to let me off, and the windows were down, and it was a dirt road, the kids would all start screaming, "Oh, what's that smell?" And they'd start rolling up the windows. But part of that was from the smell of the chicken house with the windows down, and another part of it was from when my father took the manure spreader out, and he actually spread the chicken litter all over the pastures. That's what we did to fertilize our pastures. But I can't imagine this enormous amount. I still have 50 acres on the north end. I have 60 acres on the south end. And basically what I'm hearing is everything I own is being depreciated. I mean, it's really sad that our parents have left all this property to us, and now it's going to be worthless. And there's not a thing, it appears, that we can do. I know several of you in the community. I do things with you. And it's heartbreaking to know that we don't really stand a chance. I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. Where my property, 50 acres, is, I looked it up. The guy that owns it is a Joe Moore Stanley, who has put the chicken houses in that they're talking about, but his property also joins mine. So based on the scale that you're given that they can build, it appears that he is selling it off, deeding it off, I don't know, to sections, but he owns like 2,000-acre lots all over Whitfield County, even down to Resaca. So we're not talking about 8 chicken houses, we're talking about 8 times whatever you allow to be built on 10 acres. I mean, that's an enormous amount of chicken houses, folks. We're not talking about just mom and pop. This is not regular agricultural, this is commercial agricultural. I mean, it needs to be rezoned to commercial agriculture if that's what we're doing, because it's not normal agriculture to make a living on. I just ask that you please look at this and do some kind of stipulation onto the number of houses that can be built, not based on acre size or who owns it, because if you base it on the acre size and who owns it, then they can just keep building. All that 2,000 acres next to me can all become chicken houses based on the way doing it. I mean, I've looked it up. The lady that showed the map with all the yellow spots, that's chicken houses, they're all over. And they're all like 2,000 acre lots that can be added to. They've picked each lot and they've built off of 5 acres, they've got 8 houses on them. And that's their plan in all these 2,000 acre spots. So they're just gonna keep adding to us.
Okay, yeah, I guess it's baby steps. Remember, as of yesterday, we had no regulations on chicken houses whatsoever. So now we have 4 regulations. Understand you want more, but we have 4 that we didn't have an hour ago.
I know, but
we're getting
it's
there. We're getting
sad
there.
that we've had to come to this and allow this enormous thing to happen. I mean, you would think these things would have been put into place years ago. I know, but you're used to the terms where my father did it, 2 houses on 200 acres.
Yep.
But in the future, we need to look at implementing things in and not wait till it comes to this.
Understand.
So, anyway, I just felt I had to say my piece.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Robbins.